We are wrapping up day one of the hunger strike for Palestine at the White House with a vigil where the names of Palestinians in Gaza who have been massacred by Israel are being read out loud. Throughout the day, we collected drops of blood drawn by organizers and passerbys, while also hosting poetry readings and teaching. We are hunger striking in solidarity with the Palestinians of Gaza who are starving as we speak due to Israel's siege. For decades, Israel has controlled the caloric intake of Palestinians living in Gaza. Palestinians who face torture in Israeli prisons have historically engaged in hunger strikes as a means to negotiate basic human needs, such as the rights to receive visits from family members. This past May, Khadr Adnan, who spent a significant portion of his life in Israeli prisons, died on day 86 of his hunger strike. We're here until Friday. If you're in DC, stop by. Join us in this act of solidarity with the people of Palestine as we demand a permanent ceasefire and an end to U.S. military aid to Israel.
King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law, so help me God.
What did he say?
In the diaspora, we have a duty to inform. We have a duty to say, end the occupation. We have a duty to say, end the apartheid. We have a duty to say, end colonization. And by coming here today, you're standing tall in cultures that are being erased because since when is hummus not ours? Since when are embroideries not ours? Since when are our sounds not ours?
I don't want the effigy of a foreign person on my coins. This person is a citizen of a country in Europe, on the other side of the planet from us, and I don't think that that's right and proper. And the fact that it asserts monarchy, meaning some people are born not free and equal, but under the jurisdiction of a monarch, and we believe in monarchy, that people are not born free and equal. Pretty simple propositions, really. But so important that almost every constitution on earth starts with the same words that the American Constitution starts with. And the Americans got that off the French, I might add. But no change to our current form of government. Voted against a republic, no change to our current form of government.
Have you tried compromising with Voldemort? Maybe the Death Eaters can kill some of the impure? Do I support the Avatar? I mean, the situation with the Fire Nation is so nuanced and complicated, I don't really like to get into it. The Empire destroyed your planet. Have you tried voting so that doesn't happen again? You only have the one planet? That's tough. Okay, have you ever thought that maybe the uglies like to be second-class citizens? You want firefighters to stop burning books. So you hate full employment. If kids don't want to be tribute and die, maybe they shouldn't have been kids. Have they ever thought of that? I don't care how many children she bombed. If you don't vote for President Coin, you're basically letting President Snow win. Okay, but both the Jedi and the Sith use violence. So I think both sides are equally bad. Luke Skywalker is basically a terrorist.
I just saw a video of someone saying that Gen Z would quit vaping for Congo, but we wouldn't quit for ourselves. And somebody commented that Gen Z's empathy is very community-oriented, but we're really mean to other people individually. That's such a good way to put it, and wow.
We are not going to lend acknowledgement ourselves out of complicity this holiday season, so let's turn it into a season of solidarity. Instead of succumbing to the sedative of consumerism that tries to distract us from the atrocities that our government and its capitalist machine profits off of, Here are some of the ways that we can fight the power ourselves. First off, don't buy any non-essential items. Palestinian Christians literally canceled their own Christmas. The absolute least we can do is hold on to our own money in solidarity with them. Trust me, you don't need any more stuff. Disrupt the status quo. You can follow accounts like Palestinian Youth Movement, who post regularly about actions that you can participate in. Educate yourself and your people. No one knows how to reach them better than you do, especially on things like boycott, divestment, and sanctions. Also known as BDS, which is the Palestinian call to action, modeled after successful strategies that helped to end apartheid in South Africa. Don't stop posting. Our work has been monumental in making sure that people really know what's going on. And not just about Palestine, Congo, Sudan, everywhere in the world where you are seeing people exploited by imperialism, colonialism, and capitalism. If you do have to buy something, go local. Support your communities, especially those around you who are Black, Indigenous, and people of color. Join or start collective community organizations and work on campaigns to make sure your communities are aware of where their money is going. Continue calling and writing to Congress members to tell them to stop sending almost $4 billion a year of military funding to Israel. The genocide of Palestinians is still happening, and a pause does not mean that we stop. This last one is the most important, but find ways to commit yourself and others to a sustainable lifestyle change. To always be conscious of where your money is going. We have the power to stop the horrors happening everywhere because of colonialism, capitalism, and imperialism. Make this a season of solidarity for our collective liberation.
Everyone should. Everyone should be using their platform right now to make sure that we are saving as many lives as we possibly can right now in Palestine. And I know that if you're someone who follows me and you're disappointed in those words, I'm sorry, I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed that you fell for propaganda. I'm disappointed in you that you can't see the underlying issue here, and that's genocide. All that being said, I have spoken against this already several times. But because the way the algorithm works, you might not be seeing it. And that's the sad truth. I've gotten more community guideline violations in the last several weeks than I've gotten in the last 2 years combined. It's frustrating. No matter what I'm trying to say, it's not getting through. But I have indeed made videos, and I know a lot of my other creator friends have done as well, and have faced the same issues. All that being said, free Palestine, and no algorithm is going to tell me when to be quiet. Thank you. Keep talking.
These are celebrities who are not in support of a genocide. They have signed the Artists for Ceasefire. I think that there's over 2,000 celebrities who have done this. These are the celebrities that you should be following. People who don't support actual terrorists. These are people who actually give a fuck about your life, who give a fuck about other people's lives, who are against a genocide. Don't fucking be following the other people. Be following these beautiful, show-stopping, important celebrities who are outwardly using their platform for good. I'm not here to tell you what to fucking do, but if you stand by people who are in support of a genocide, you're being a bystander. Block them, follow these people.
That was an awesome conference, right?
Except all the Black women were lighter than a paper bag.
Don't be a hater. At least Black women are winning.
But if they're all light-skinned, then not all Black women are winning. Colorism is the social marginalization and systemic oppression of people with darker skin tones and the privileging of people with lighter skin tones. This happens within and across race, ethnicity, region, and culture.
Like futurism and texturism, colorism is a product of white supremacy, colonization, classism, and casteism.
Oh, colorism. I've experienced that.
You benefit from it.
Actually, it goes both ways.
Actually, it does not.
Just like there's no such thing as reverse racism, there's no such thing as reverse colorism.
There are people who benefit from colorism, lighter skinned folks, at the expense of those who are harmed by colorism, darker skinned folks. Institutional colorism means that medical devices are not designed to work well on darker skin tones. Medical imagery and models routinely erase darker skinned people.
Darker skinned Black people are 30% more likely to be incarcerated or criminalized due to colorism.
And because of colorism, people with darker skin tones are less likely to be featured in film, TV, and advertising. Conversations around colorism should be led by the people who are harmed by it, aka dark-skinned folks. I launched Colorism Healing in 2013 to dig deeper and facilitate solutions. You can learn more at colorismhealing.com.
Smarter in seconds.
Yes, Jamal, I cannot anymore. Do you see this tweet that got over 9 million views? What is your favorite Israeli food? Astaghfirullah. What? Since when? Habibi. Let's have a quick fact check, as they like to call it. Shakshuka? Yeah, that originated from Tunisia. Falafel? That originated in Egypt. Hummus, not Hamas, originated in Syria, guys. Baklawa, that originated in the 8th century in the Assyrian Empire that consisted of Iran, Syria, Iraq, Turkey, all of these. These foods are all Arabic foods. They are Arabic foods. They are not Israeli foods. If I went to China and I just started making my own dim sum and said, you know what, this is actually Arabic food. How would they feel, huh? How would they feel? Not good. Not good at all. Guys just keep take. Always taking. Just take. Stop it. Stop it.
Yes, this comment right here, as someone who participated in the show, I 100% agree. When I saw the casting call for this, I was like, this has to be a joke, right? Because it obviously goes against everything that the original show is about. I sent the casting call to my dad as a joke, and he was like, wait, we should actually apply though. And so we did. I definitely had some reservations about it, but when he and I both got cast, I was like, okay, come on, we have to try this. Like, why not? But like the moral irony of the whole thing was definitely something I was thinking about on the show and like a lot afterwards, especially getting to see like the inside of it and how it all actually works. Like seeing the nitty gritty of people literally competing for money for like other people's entertainment was like very dystopian. Especially when you realize that a lot of people in the show don't need the money as much as they say they do. It is interesting though, because the creator of the original show was actually very involved in the production of the reality TV version. I'm curious to know what his final thoughts are now that the show is all out.
You know how chai tea technically means tea and non-bread technically means bread? There are actually a lot of other examples of accidental reduplication like this. Ramen noodles, shiitake mushrooms, mole sauce, and it all comes down to a classic story of colonization. English guy shows up in India, he tries the local cuisine, he's like, ooh, this is good, what is this? They say naan, he of course doesn't know what that means, so he says, oh, I'm gonna call this type of bread non-bread. This is especially common with place names. Lake Michigan, for example, means lake, large lake, because the colonizers again showed up, asked the indigenous people what it was called. They said, oh, that's a large lake. The colonizers didn't know what that meant, so they assumed that was the name of the lake, then they added their existing geographic term to it. I made this map showing more examples, and you can see how crazy it gets. In just the major water bodies of the US, Lake Tahoe means lake, the Mississippi River means the big river, the Ohio River means good river, and the Connecticut River means long tidal river. We even have redundant names of sports teams. The Los Angeles Angels means the Angels. These bilingual tautologies that I've been showing you are just a small part of an entire category of expression called the pleonasm, which encompasses a lot of redundant things that we say all the time, like chainmail or safe haven, and I'll have to do a part 2 video on that.
I think I should really start a series called Professor Nemo, because every time I read comments like these, it just proves to me that you guys are not educated at all. And it's just embarrassing because I can tell you typed this comment with so much confidence. So the phrase person of color or people of color is a term used to describe non-white people. And that is the simple definition. So you're right, it does include black people, but it also includes Asian people, Hispanic people, indigenous people, even Middle Eastern people. Those are all ethnic groups that are considered people of color. And better yet, even people who are mixed are considered people of color. And fun fact, which a lot of people don't know, the term people of color was specifically used towards light-skinned and mixed people. The word people of color comes from the 1700s. It comes from the French term gens de couleur. And gens de couleur was actually specifically targeted towards mixed color people because they were freed slaves. They were freed colored people. So the fact that you tried to correct me on a word or a phrase that you don't even know the definition of, this is embarrassing. Please, I beg of you, read a book.
When I'm talking about white supremacy, I am talking about a social hierarchy and a system of exploitation. And that system of exploitation depends on pitting marginalized communities against one another in order to uphold itself. The system of white supremacy is also inextricably tied to colonialism, patriarchy, and capitalism. Within this hierarchy, we are all placed on different rungs of a ladder in order to create resentment towards one another. And at the end of the day, it is hurting all of us. Dividing communities who ultimately have similar backgrounds and goals is something that the British really perfected throughout British colonialism, and after them, the United States. So for example, I am from Trinidad. It is a Caribbean island which had a large African slave population. But when slavery was abolished, the British brought Indian indentured servants to replace their slave labor. But in order to diffuse solidarity between those two groups, the British would give Indian people higher roles in things like government. We saw this also happen in the United States, where whiteness was ultimately created, so poor working class whites would not want to find solidarity with African slaves, who they had much more in common with than the white elites. We can't forget the British colonial and US imperialist aspects of this issue, and those come back to white supremacy.
We need to talk about what's going on in Ireland right now. Thursday night, November 24th, there were massive anti-immigration riots in the centre of Dublin, the capital of Ireland. Listen to this audio message of one of the organisers of this riot.
7 o'clock, be in town. Everyone, body up, towel up, and any fucking jippo, foreigner, anyone, just kill them. Just fucking kill them. Let's get this on the fucking news. Let's show the fucking media that we're not a fucking pushover.
I'll spare you the rest of the audio, but look at even the name of the organizer, K-Word All Immigrants. Mind you, this group has over 400 people. It's not a small group. And the organizer basically told them, if you see any jippo, which is a slur for Romani people and travelers, or immigrant, K-word them. This is in response to reports floating around social media of the stabbing of 3 Irish children by a foreigner. Now, this is all alleged, and different reports say he's Algerian, Moroccan, Romanian, Romani. They can't agree. But whatever the case may be, that tragedy is being used to scapegoat anti-immigrant violence across Ireland. These xenophobic anti-immigrant attitudes have been building for quite some time, especially with the influx of immigrants from Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. This are nothing. Even the Irish travellers who are indigenous to Ireland are included under that jippo slur category, simply because of their association with Romani people, because certain cultural practices are either adopted from Romani people or similar to Romani people. In addition, the influx of Romani immigrants from Eastern Europe looking for a better life, still ending up in extreme poverty in Ireland because of that racism that exists. These riots have been condemned by the Irish Prime Minister. However, that's not enough. Anti-immigrant and anti-foreigner attitudes are on the rise in Ireland, including anti-Roma racism, and that needs to be addressed head-on.
People think I can't do things normally. Film me making a cup of tea. Right, we've got the electric teapot, now what?
Oh, you fill it up with water?
Yes. Is this right?
We've got to pour the water. Just use the button, Rishi.
Right, yeah. Which one is it?
I don't know.
Run! Tea bags. Okay, I did get them into the cup. Chopsticks? 4, 5, 10, what's the normal amount? What do working class people say? 2 milk and a sugar, mate. It's not boiled. Follow me. Right. Okay. Right, give me something to stir it with. Don't be stupid. Thank you.
Say something.
I'm just a regular geezer man having a good cup of brew.
Now drink it.
With what?
Your mouth.
If people are still saying I'm not normal after this, I don't know what's wrong with them.
Hey. Do you guys remember the time this one Asian guy pretended to be black by shaving off all his hair and changing his name from a traditional Indian one to a very basic American one, just to make a fool of himself for the Fox News crowd in order to gain some, like, social and maybe monetary value? Mindy Kaling's brother truly was a trailblazer for all those to come.
off with marijuana. Then they decide to see if heroin has any kick. It does.